Hey there, Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement and bringing you another edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training, where I take a concept, a strategy, something that we use in autism fitness training for our autism and neurodivergent life skill athletes and bring it to you in a workable, usable, info-friendly way, something like that. I don't know. Anyhow, before I get started, please definitely subscribe so that you never miss another edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training. And let's get at it. And today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest, if not the biggest question that comes up towards me in emails, social media, everything else, and that concerns motivation. How do we motivate our autism and neurodivergent life skill athletes to exercise? And it's one of those questions that also needs to be answered with some questions such as, what have you tried before? How did it seem like they were unmotivated or disinterested? What exercises were used? What was the environment? What was the context? These things need to be answered because we need to understand from an empathetic standpoint what the experience is like for that particular individual. And we also need to set certain expectations as well. So there are three different ways or three different strategies that we can use to great success in boosting up and building the motivation for our life skill athletes to participate in exercise on a regular basis to a meaningful degree so that they build the strength, the stability, the motor planning that is going to generalize to activities of daily living. Of course, that's what we really want as the outcome of our training programs. So of the three motivational strategies, number one is going to be choice. Giving our athletes choice over one exercise versus another exercise, usually in order. So my favorite question to ask any one of my athletes, whether I've been working with them for one session or half a session, or whether we've had 1,000 sessions together, is, do you want to do this exercise first or that exercise first? Giving them a sense of ownership over the exercise program. And it also has to be specific. So what I'm not going to do is ask one of my athletes, oh, what do you want to do today? Because it's far too open-ended. But giving a choice between two different exercises in either our warm-up or our power or our strength phase is going to give them the opportunity to advocate for themselves and to have a measure of control in the session. So instead of using have to language, you have to do this, you have to do that. You know, if you give somebody have to language, it's like, oh, you have to do this exercise, and then come back and email someone like me and say, oh, they hate to exercise, oh, they don't like to. Well, why? You're giving them a bunch of have-tos, and that generally isn't conducive to someone enjoying the process and enjoying the activity. All right. The second aspect of motivation that we need to consider is going to be consistency. If we do something once, or we introduce an exercise once, and it's not the athlete's favorite, or they have some difficulty with the exercise, it's challenging for them, it takes them a few minutes to figure out how to perform the exercise, or they're getting frustrated with it, we need to support them, obviously, but the wrong thing to do is say, well, they didn't like it, so we're never doing it again. We want to respect our athletes as human beings who are capable of developing new skills, and part of that is introducing a new exercise or introducing a new activity. And even if it isn't their favorite thing on the face of the planet at first, that's all right. We want to introduce it initially as something that the athlete can try. And that's my exact language that I use is, okay, let's try this. We have a band row or we have a band pull down. and the athlete tries it, and then we need to modify the exercise towards their current level of physical ability. That's all fine, and that's all necessary. The thing to not do is say, oh, well, they had a difficult time with it, so we're not doing this anymore. By taking away and taking away and taking away different exercises, we're not providing this opportunity. And I've had so many athletes in the history of my programs who started out definitely not on the high end of motivated to participate, and definitely not on the high end of exercises reinforcing for them, but simply by way of the exercise, of the programming being consistent, eventually they got better at or good at each exercise. And as you become better with a skill, what happens? It starts to become more reinforcing. So even if you're not perfect at that particular exercise, over time and with practice, and with the third aspect of motivation, it's going to increase in a positive reaction from that athlete, because now they feel comfortable and capable with that exercise. So the third component of motivation is going to be something that we utilize often and with every exercise, and that is behavior-specific praise. Behavior-specific praise is our antidote to the great job epidemic. What am I talking about? Oftentimes in work with the autism and neurodivergent population, we hear the same two words over and over and over and over again. And that's great job, great job, great job, great job. Great job quickly and often becomes meaningless, because great job doing what? What information does it convey? It is not conducive to giving the appropriate and meaningful feedback for our athletes. Behavior-specific praise is a fantastic clue-in for our athletes to exactly what they are doing correctly when they are doing it correctly. So instead of a have-to message like, oh, you have to do that better, or a generic message of great job, what we want to do, and the formula for this, is great job and then fill in the blank. So great job with that hurdle step, or great job with that push throw, great job squatting, and we can get more specific than that as well. But the key with behavior-specific praise, it is the curative to the general praise that is often given, and instructors mean well, but it doesn't really do anything. Great job doesn't do anything. You know, you hear great job, okay, good. But if something is really dialed in to great job with that grip on that band row, that looked super, it has a lot more impact, beneficial impact for that athlete as well. And we can use that as an instructional cue also. This is something that you learn in the Autism Fitness Pro Certification. So to reiterate, our three modes, and there are more, but our three main and reliable modes of motivation for our autism and neurodivergent athletes are: number one, giving choice between exercises; number two, being consistent with those exercises and not falling into the variety trap of let's do 10 exercises this week and then switch it out to another 12 exercises next week, which not only is confusing, but it's not going to develop those strength and motor skills the way that we want to. And the third, of course, is using behavior-specific praise not only to reinforce, but also to coach our athletes as best as we possibly can. So try those three out. Of course, it takes a lot more than that. Understanding when and how to use these different strategies, but those are three great ones to start with. I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, I'd love to know how in the comments below. And if you're ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, you can go to autismfitness.com, learn all about the certification, and of course our site certification for schools and organizations. I'm Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness, leading the movement for movement. Thank you very much for watching Tuesday Training.